Let's talk about the first step in the primary source analysis, which you will turn in every week. So the first step is very straightforward. Once you've read the document, you're going to source it, and you'll probably find that you're sourcing it as you read it. So you may just want to jot down the answers as you go. So sourcing is basically telling me these 6 components: who, what, where, when, why, and how, and then putting them all together. And the purpose of that is to kind of ground yourself in this specific source so that you can start thinking about who wrote it and why they wrote it, their audience, that kind of thing, which will help you answer some deeper questions about the source later on. So let's imagine that you have just read a eulogy delivered by the Reverend Anna Howard Shaw at Susan B. Anthony's funeral. The first question that you will ask yourself is, who created this source? In this case, who created this eulogy? But sometimes it'll be who created this picture, for example. And the answer, of course, would be suffrage leader Reverend Anna Howard Shaw. And notice here, I've told you that if you know this person's race or their class or their profession, like she's a minister, consider including those. If you just say her name, that doesn't give me much information. She could be anybody, and so that won't help me figure out what her unique perspective is. But if I know a little about her, that'll help me figure out more about her point of view. So give me as much as you know. That does not mean that you should go and Google this person and put that information in. Pull out what it says in the source about her. It'll say it in the little introduction. Sometimes they will kind of tell you who they are when they start speaking, that kind of thing. So just pull out what it says in the primary source that I've asked you to read. All right, that's who, pretty straightforward. What is just what's the topic. Sometimes it's going to be hard to tell what from who. Like if, for example, if Susan B. Anthony had been writing about herself, the what and the who would be the same. But here that's not the case. You've got Anna Howard Shaw writing about Susan B. Anthony's legacy in her eulogy. So the answer there would be the eulogy. Then when, pretty straightforward, just give me a date. If there's no specific date listed, give me as close as you can possibly give me. Like maybe it'll just say it was written in June of 1906. Or you might just know that it was written during a specific era. So it was maybe written during the Civil War, during Reconstruction. That's fine, just put as much as you have. Same thing for where. Often you will have a specific city. So like this is a eulogy, they can pretty much tell you where the eulogy took place. That's very straightforward, but sometimes it's going to be a broader region. So like if you have the diary of a slaveholder, maybe they don't know where that slaveholder lived. It might just be in the South. If you don't have a physical place, give me where it was published. That's fine too, like the New York Times or the Greensboro Gazette or whatever. All right, those are all very straightforward. I think the why and the how were a little trickier. Why was it created? What's the purpose? So here, the purpose of a eulogy is to present this at Susan B. Anthony's funeral as a way for the audience to remember her. That's pretty straightforward. It might be a little trickier, like if you're thinking of, say, an image, you're going to have to think a little deeper about why might a photographer have captured a certain image? What were they trying to convey? Or why might a publisher have published that image? What were they trying to convey? Think about maybe in elementary school you learned about PIE, persuade, inform, entertain. So if you get stuck, think about those 3 things. Was it published in order to persuade somebody of something, or to entertain them, or give them some information, that kind of thing? That can often help. Think about who the audience is and what the author was trying to achieve. Finally, how. This one's very straightforward as long as you're careful to tell me about how it's presented. So in what format is it? Is it, in this case, it's a speech, or you could call it a eulogy. Sometimes it's a picture. Sometimes it's a quilt. Sometimes it's a poem, that kind of thing. So essentially you're just telling me what the genre or format is right here. And then finally, this is the part that I grade. All of this part up here is kind of for your benefit in order to do this part properly. For the description, you're going to put it all together. What you should not do is put information in this box that you didn't put in these boxes above. So essentially, it's like a math problem. You're just going to add who plus what plus when plus where plus why plus how to get the description. And here's an example. primary document is a eulogy that Reverend Anna Howard Shaw presented to Susan B. Anthony's mourners at her funeral in Rochester, New York. Here's the date and then why she presented it, a way of remembering her. You may even, to improve this a little, you might say a primary document is a eulogy that suffragist Reverend Anna Howard Shaw. That would be even better. So the description is just the sum of all of these parts up here. And what I will actually grade is the sentence that you write in this box here. Hope that's clear. If not, please feel free to shoot me an email to ask about that.